he was so-called evil too.
The Israelites.
Yeah.
But the tribe of Judah, because right.
Yeah, because he was the king of the Scots. And like you said earlier, a lot of Israelites ran to Europe, though, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll get into that a little bit, my lesson, though, but it's the
So-
truth, though, you know, because facts and Russian icons, and I'll get into it, though, but yeah.
So let's give 1 John 1:7.
First John.
1:7, because if you stay here, and I'm talking to all of you, and you have sons, and you had your son, now you have to teach him. You can't let your son or your daughter not know who they are. You can't let them grow up without having a chance, because while they're living with you in your house, you're responsible for them. And the day's gonna come when they decide, I gotta grow up, I gotta spread my wings and fly. Then eventually one day they're gonna have a son. And then you'll like the scripture said, that when God the beautiful one in Ecclesiastes, when a father's never dead because he leaves his son just like him. Yeah.
It's like with Yahweh Shai, you want to see the Father, you see me, you see the Father.
So now you understand what reincarnation is all about. Reincarnation is crucial in this thing.
Yeah, because how is it someone that can get away with so much shit, though, and they just die?
And that's why these devils nowadays say, oh, you gotta forgive them.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. John, first book of John 1:7. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Yahushua Mashiach, his son, cleanses us from all sin.
See how I put that together, those 3 scriptures, the last ones? They're all about the blood of the Lamb. And now this one explains why. If you walk in the light, this is the light. If you walk in the light, so like if 50 years pass by and I'm gone, both of my sons have to, and then your son has to be in the camp, and they all have to have camps, and they all have to have their sons, and they all have to keep doing it. And if they have to have more sons, that's how the way it is. But it's not going to be like that. This is the last one. Because all the signs point to the mark of the beast, the MOTB.
That's the main.
The MOT, that's the last one. That's
the one. Yeah.
That's like when you're at a party and they play the best song, everybody gets up and starts dancing.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's the one.
Everyone's already like feeling themselves, you know.
That's like when you've been on roller coasters plenty of times. That's like, and you get that feeling. You're like, oh, this is scary, but it's so fun.
Yeah,
because that means that this country is going down because we're coming up, and your house that's coming back is going to destroy it. Let's go to Acts 20 and 28.
Acts 20 and 28. Take heed thereof unto yourself and to all the flock over the which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood.
Damn. So he purchased us. What you mean redeemed?
Bring back
To the fold. So that's why we're all here. That's why we were all here. Now we're on this side.
You gotta tell your son, you know, that you're Israelite, you know.
We're Israelites. You got to sit down and tell your son, look, you see all these motherfuckers out here? They're Gentiles. You got to explain the whole thing. One day he's going to be old enough to be like, tell you something, and then you're going to have that talk with him. Yeah. Look, son, you're an Israelite. This is why this is happening.
The curses, yeah. Break down the curses.
So let's finish my lesson with Revelation 12 and 12.
Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having a great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
That's it. He's running out of time. He's got to get that MOTB. He's got to get the most souls he can get.
This is what running out of time.
running out of time.
So he's gonna keep showing his horns, you know?
And what that means is, how should I say that? That time that he's running out is ass whooping waiting to happen. The worst kind. The worst kind. That's like the guy that's been bullying you all your life. He went to prison, and now you're relaxed. And then you find out from his cousin Kiki that he's getting out next week, and then you're getting all scared.
Like, what's Friday after next?
Yeah.
His name, Damien? He got out.
That shit'll fuck your day up, man.
He been saying, was it crazy? I had dream about that nigga.
Yeah, and
You know,
then,
so,
and
yeah.
then people was trying to plot on Craig.
Yeah.
So that was my lesson. I had to explain who the devil was, who that great dragon, that red serpent, the old devil was. Now you know who he is.
That's good. Exactly. So today's lesson, what I want to speak about is, tomorrow, how's it going? It's talking about, you ever see the preaching, the Northmen?
No.
What's about the Vikings?
Oh yeah, I think I have seen.
Yeah, so, I'm here to explain who the actual true Vikings are, you know?
Oh yeah.
So that's what I want to explain today about those, because when people think the Vikings, right? They think long blonde hair and the horns, right? You think about the Vikings, right? You think about the blonde hair, the horn. But guess what? The actual true Vikings were actually your complexion. So that's my lesson today, though, and I'm gonna break it down, though, because a lot of people think that they're big people, though, but in reality, they're not, though, because do you see yourself on this sign right here, sir?
Not to the phone there?
Yeah.
So we got the 12 tribes of Israel, starting with the tribe of Judah, which is the head tribe of Israel, and that is the Negroes that were brought over here from West Africa and North Africa to the Americas to serve hardcore slavery, along with the West Indians as Benjamin, Haitians as Levi, and that's the Southern Kingdom. That's the tribe of Judah. And then these Dominicans and Mexicans and all these Latin tribes comprise the Northern Kingdom, which is Simeon, Zebulon, Ephraim. Ephraim is our head, so that's the Puerto Ricans, and we're Issacharites because we're so-called Mexicans, but we're all Negroes at one point.
Yeah, so that's that's the thing. But we got ran away, slavery and things like that. So eventually our complexion lined up because more and more, just over time, So so today I want to speak about the Vikings, because you see the Vikings, right? They knew about the Americas, though. They used to always make trades with Gad, though. The so-called Native Americans. They used to make trades with them, though. They had a map, though. It was called the Vatican Archaic. But you see, what happened was, Christopher Columbus, he had that map, though, so he knew how to get to the Americas. And he actually had an interpreter. His name was Luis de Torres, and he actually knew to speak Hebrew and Arabic. If you can look at him, oh, it's like so his name was Luis de Torres, and he was an interpreter, though, So you're thinking like, okay, why is Christopher Columbus bringing an interpreter that can speak also Hebrew? Why is he bringing this guy? It was because there was Israelites in the Americas, So that's why he brought that interpreter, because why would you bring someone to speak that language, So that's just the thing about it, though. So that's the thing, though, right? So because I'm speaking about, because tomorrow, they're gonna release a movie called Northman, and and I guess it's a big deal, whatever, though. So so there's this guy, right? He's a professor named Matthias Jacobson. He's a genetics researcher, and he maps like the genome and the Swedes and things like that. So he said that the first Swedes, though, the population, he said, unlike the present Swedes, though, that the ancestors had dark skin as a legacy of the African. But actually, they weren't even actually Africans. They were actually Israelites, though, because the Africans are actually Hamites, because they didn't have to go through trials and tribulation as Israelites, though, because they literally stayed in the continent of Africa. The only time that it was when Alexander the Great, though, when he came and ruled, was it what's that?
Sudan, Ethiopia.
Yeah, but that what's that called? That general, head of I think
So there was.
4 generals. The
So
one
there was.
I know there's 7.
Lysimachus.
Yeah, see, there's 4 generals, you know.
Yeah. So this is the Seleucid.
Yeah, that one, and then it was the one for the
Ptolemy.
There you go, that
Ptolemy.
one. Yeah.
Ptolemaic. Now the thing about the Ptolemaic is that they were so-called white people. That's why they get the Cleopatra. People say she was the most beautiful woman on the planet because she was white. But she was white, but she wasn't the most beautiful woman.
Had a big nose.
Yeah, you've seen our woman. Come on, man. That's a lie. And the reason why these people came from West Africa is because of the Moors. So we're actually African descendants. We're like Negroes. We're all Negroes, basically.
I come from Marcus or Benjamin, basically more Indian and African descendants.
Yeah. Oh, Native Americans. There a lot of them are dark skinned.
Anyway, I know my grandparents got lots of Indian by the height.
So you could be from the tribe of Gad.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Or
The Seminole Indians.
Or Ruben.
Or the Seminole Indians.
Yeah, some type of Indian, something
Yeah.
what it was.
You ever heard of the Blackfoot Indians?
Huh?
The Blackfoot?
I don't know Blackfoot, but there was some part of Indian. I don't know. They're tracing all the way back down. But I got things on my family history that I'm checking out now, little by little.
Yeah, that's good.
Tapes and stuff.
That's good.
Well, back then, the runaway slave used to run, from interpretation from Andrew Jackson. They used to run to Florida, and they used to mingle with the Native Americans down there,
Mhm.
So eventually, they start, the Seminole Indians, which Seminole, these wild ones, so they used to paint their whole bodies and used to go up against the Confederate armies and things like that. Andrew Jackson, he's the man on the $20 bill. So it was at his time, and he used to go against them, though. So you can see a lot of runaway slaves, they used to go, because, the Native Americans, they used to mingle with them. They didn't have no problems with mingle with them, though. They helped them, though, the same way they help each other, though. So they're all on the same team, they're fighting against this, white man.
And there's a statue of Theodore Roosevelt riding a horse. And on one side he has an African slave, and on the other side he has a Native American slave. It shows you that we're brothers, man. We're going through the same bullshit.
Go to the same poverty.
Everybody has slaves during the day. Mexicans had slaves,
Oh, yeah.
black folks had slaves, black folks slaves, and black folks had slaves. All kinds of slavery was going on back in the day.
And then that's how you increase your kingdom by having slaves. But there's some people that we have rules. Like you would only keep you as a slave for this long,
7 years.
7 years, and then you're free just to get out of debt.
Give you,
There was two.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this devil Benjamin Franklin, he put himself into the 13th Amendment.
And that's what I'm going to learn.
What you talking about? Some of you out there get out of debt. How you talking about?
Okay, let's say we're back in the day. 'Cause now it's called refinancing. So what we would do is I'd be like, look, brother, I know I owe you for all the work I've been, for all the food that you let me have, and for all the training. So let me serve you for 7 years, and after those 7 years, you can let me go and I can get my pay. So in those 7 years, that work was a lot, and then it was fruitful because you got 100,000 goats, and then you raised your family, but then you couldn't leave with your family if that wife was also a slave. So there was contracts. Let's say contracts. So now he's out of debt. He's paid his debt back, and he paid his debt to the rich guy, not another guy, because he wanted things. Like right now, we want things, right? So we get in debt. We get credit card debt. How do we get out of that? We have to refinance and consolidate, make one big payment. Now we're even in more debt, and we're trying to get out of it. But this was the only way to get out of it, is to make something like, a debt slave. And Benjamin Franklin did that shit too.
Okay, right now, they're making it so easy. People get credit cards right now.
Yeah.
And low interest rates. Everybody jumping on the ball, buying cars, buying trucks and everything. And you know, then when the market hit, everything changes. They ain't gonna be people that are repossessing these things, and they in debt and they ain't got the car, they ain't got the pickups and stuff. You know, and you know, they gonna be a hardship on the family. Well, they ain't gonna be able to get work, go to work, and find work because they ain't got no transportation.
Exactly. That's the.
It trickles down.
And
Yeah. Because I'm gonna get this Deuteronomy 15 about the Lord's release. Yeah, if you want to get that one, Deuteronomy 15, 1 through 3. Yeah, because Deuteronomy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's gonna get, because there's a thing called Lord's release. So he's gonna read it right now. Because let's say you owe someone money, right?
Right.
And 7 years pass by, and you know you weren't able to give that brother the money, right?
Right.
So there's a thing called Lord's release. So whatever he owed you, he doesn't. He doesn't have to pay you though.
Yeah.
It's called the Lord's release though. And you can't be bugging him, be like, hey, where are you gonna get money? You can't even money because that's actual sin.
You ever ask one of your family members for money, and then they'll be like, when you gonna pay me? When you gonna pay me?
That's a sin. That's a sin right there that he's
Yeah.
doing against, which is on verse 9. But you can read
So
that.
this is Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 1. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release.
Oh yeah.
See?
Well, just like I have family. I mean, especially a brother of mine. He borrowed from me.
Yeah.
I give it to him and think nothing of it. Every time I ask him for something, I don't care whether it be $50. What you want it for? No. And if you don't think it's good enough for him to give it to me, he ain't gonna give it to me.
Yeah.
I don't care what I'm spending it for. I'm borrowing it. You know what I'm saying? If I want to whack my tail in with it, you know, I'm borrowing. I'm gonna pay it back to you. So ask me all these questions. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
Yeah,
these things happen. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, he's not supposed to be doing that though. That's
yeah, I'm
a
just
sin
saying
then.
people do it though.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
do
yeah.
it. And my own daughter do it. You know. Yeah, question me like, wait a minute, don't you don't question
And
me
like
about
this chapter's gonna
you
get
know?
into, there's a thing called the year of Jubilee where all debt was wiped free, clean.
Mhm.
But now they don't do that.
No, ain't nothing quite clean now because I don't care what you do now. They sell it to another person and they can't collect. They sell it to somebody else and they come hound you about it and they come and hound you and they can't get they hound sell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know,
So that's called, they divide the debt. So one credit card company buys a debt from another credit card
Right,
company. Now you're
exactly.
getting a whole bunch of calls from somebody you've never even dealt with.
exactly.
I'm calling from such and such. What?
Oh,
What's
good
up with
guy.
you? Yeah, what's up with
Oh,
you? The bill collector.
and
Yeah.
here's the thing about now. If shit hits the fan and the market beef starts to pull out, these companies that you owe debt to, they're gonna get soldiers and they're gonna get their money back. They're gonna put you in slavery.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
that's what the credit. I mean, that's what these
Banks.
these where you borrow money from loan.
Oh, yeah.
They just kind of be like that. They kind of used to put people out there like come out to their money, get their money for them and stuff. You know, but I think it got so bad that they left that alone.
Terrible.
But
It's like a loan shark. Have you ever seen the movie Rocky?
Say that too.
The first movie, Rocky. He was breaking people's thumbs.
well, I know people like that. I know people back in the day that was
He
going
was
through all
like,
that.
he would be like, hey Jimmy, you know you gotta pay Big Bob. You know I gotta hurt you today. I don't want my life you. Let me see your hand. And then you have to give him your hand because that's how you pay. That's a
Yeah.
form of payment.
Look here, I know the dude in L.A. I mean, he's a good drum player. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he plays drummer. I mean, as good as he wants to. But got in debt. Lost his fingers.
Hey,
You know?
now you can't play no more.
And now when he's trying to play, I mean, he gets so exhausted because he's upset because he loses stick, you know.
Hey,
He still try to play, but he's
So that's a hard
You know.
way to pay for it because he's thinking about that every time he drops that stick. Every time he's off beat.
Yep.
Damn it. Every time he looks at his freaking hands. Damn it.
Yep, and then seen him later. I mean, lost a hand, you know,
Oh.
because of rock, smoking that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And dipping in the stuff and not paying for it, you know, smoking more than you're supposed to, you know. I mean, I know all kinds of stuff. I've got stories way back. I mean, I've seen it all.
Now
Man.
imagine these debt collectors coming in blue helmets in the form of the UN or some other organization and just busting everybody's house down, collecting people, taking them to concentration centers, shipping them up, and sending them to a work line or taking your wife and taking your woman, your daughters and your granddaughters, making them sex slaves, making your sons slaves. That's what these people, the so-called Edomites, the white people, you already know about slavery. It wasn't us that put ourselves in slavery.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It wasn't us.
We didn't say, oh, look, we were chilling straight cool. Even our brothers Judites were chilling cool in West Africa, and we were chilling hell cool over here.
Yeah, here in America, yeah.
Well, I think that you couldn't go over in with that place where they're fighting
Ukraine?
Ukraine. What do you call it?
Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah. I mean, it's peaceful people, Democrat people. But look what's going on with them.
Well, did you know that the
You know?
Ukrainians have a large factors of Nazis?
Of Nazis.
Nazi. They are Nazi
Yeah, you
collaborators.
see some of them with the sweat.
They hate me and you.
Uh-huh.
If they see us over there fighting for them, I think it was a report saying from the telling African people, look, if you're going to volunteer to serve at, I think it was some organization that does good things.
Right.
They said you're going to be prepared to be called an N-word.
Because
yeah.
of what?
They said N-word, but then you know what they're going to call them?
They say get ready to be called that, you know?
Mhm.
So, how the shit is that? You're gonna have these people.
How the hell you going to, we're trying to help.
And you over here not, because of
Look
Muhammad.
at that nigga. Yeah, that's bad. See? And then they start stoning you. And you're over here trying to help somebody else that wants to see you die.
Yeah, because look what happened with Muhammad Ali. Remember? They tried to draft him to the.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And he was like, why the fuck am I gonna
I give him respect for that. You know, I give him all the respect in the world for that. You know, but if, you know, people right here, you
Yeah.
go
You know,
over there and
yeah,
fight.
that's exactly. I
You
made a
know,
video about that.
And you probably know about Emmett Till too.
And that, huh?
You know about Emmett Till?
You know?
See, that's bad. He didn't even do nothing.
That's the work of a monster, man.
That's the
What
work
they
of a monster.
That's the work of a monster, man. And that is very, it's you know what I mean? It's a lesson about this monster.
I did a lesson about a whole bunch of monsters.
Yeah, yeah.
A race of monsters.
But you know something? I believe in that. You see, something that happened right here.
Exactly, brother. Exactly.
And that's the whole thing.
People don't think
you know,
it's
I
not
know
happening here.
it can happen right here, just like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And don't take that much. You know what's supposed to happen. You know, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know, gotta be aware of everything at all times. Prepare yourself. Keep yourself perfect. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
keep
You need to
praying.
do. You know, because
How did you stop praying? You know, stop praying because you know things are gonna come to over here, man.
So
Right.
we got to give you the names now, so you can be protected. So the name of God, the Heavenly Father, is Yahweh, which means He exists, and that's the name right here, Yahweh. And
he
it's,
got so many different names. I mean,
yeah,
people,
but that's
you
his
know,
real name.
But
That's a real name.
That's his name that he gives to his friends. So
Some
you're
say
his friend.
Jehovah, some say
Well, that's
I don't give
basically
a color
the
name,
same
you know.
thing, but it's Yiddish.
And
Yeah,
it's,
okay.
yeah, it's like watered down, though. You know,
Right.
This is the Paleo Hebrew, which is the ancient one that the Canaanites were using.
You put the God of Israel, a lot
Right.
of them will pop out. You know. Excuse me, guys.
Okay.
You're good. So you put, you know, different God of Moab, God of Ammon, God of Edom.
And all those gods, they had different names.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause the Philistines, they had a what was it, Dagon? They worshiped King Dagon. The Ammonites worshipped
Asteroid.
yeah, her. You know what I'm saying? They had their gods back then.
See,
But-
my sister named her kid is now reading the lost books of the Bible.
There you go. We got that part of the too, man. Part of the lot of books.
yeah.
So his son's name is Yahweh Shai, and that's the real name. That's the name of Jesus, right? His real name is Yahweh Shai. And that'll give you salvation. That's the people have guns. Well, that's the smoking bullet right there.
Yeah, because that letter J didn't come about to 1524. Into the Renaissance Center with an Italian named
Tristani.
Tristani, yeah. And it was like back in those times though. He's actually called the father of the letter J.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so back then his name wasn't even called that though. You know, his name wasn't Jesus though.
Mhm.
He actually had a name though. You know, a Hebrew name.
Right.
So because, like I said, the letter didn't come about though, you know, because what's the well, I'll get it right now because how is it that because you know through time the name gets watered down though, you know,
Yeah.
but it tells you in the Apocrypha in the first chapter in the first
I'll
book.
show you right now.
Yeah.
See, this is the letter. This is why the letter J was invented. That's Roman numerals. So at the end, if like you're trying, that's 28. So February had 28 days. If 28 would have been 2 X's, one represents 10, and a P5, 3 I's. So they said that's ridiculous. Let's invent the J, and that'll be 3 at the end of that's what their name got invented.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a whole different language. See,
I see. Now look here, but okay, what about the Sabbath day? I mean, Sabbath day will be on Saturday, and then they separate on Sunday. What do you believe in that or what?
the new moon.
Yeah.
The new moon, you know about the lunar
Yeah,
calendar?
the zodiac, yeah,
Yeah.
the different moons.
So
yeah.
every time there's a new moon, that tells you that that day is the Sabbath. So it changes every month.
Oh, okay, okay. Now my brother used to be into them. Older brother used to be into that really heavy.
Yeah, it's like it goes with the moon because in the book of Genesis, the Lord tells us that He created the moon for signs.
Yeah, yeah. And then which moon month goes back to moon. That doesn't mean the same thing. Moon means month.
And that's actually goes back to paying your debt. See, that goes all the way back to talking about moon.
Yeah,
Because then
yeah.
the new moon was rent day, was the pay day. You know, you gotta pay your rent.
Yeah, because yeah, it's true. Like days, first of the month, pay your rent.
And the new moon was the first of the month. So that's when the people had to pay back in the day. And man.
Because the full moon is like already like 2 weeks within the new moon.
So the full moon will tell you that's in 2 weeks.
When you see the full moon, you're literally in the middle of the month.
So yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know the full moon people more acting crazy when the full moon.
And if you go, that's what happens. And if you go into outer space, they're going by the new moon too. Because the Chinese, they go by the new moon too. See that crazy? They call that a Hellcat. I mean, that's the power of that is to resemble the power of a chariot. It's translated to horsepower. He's probably running about 500 horsepower.
Right, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, yeah. So,
If he's got the Hellcat and he's got the black fob, it's going at 500. But if he's got that red fob, it's going at 700.
Making it more,
And that represents chariots, which also represents power. Like you see Julius Caesar in his chariot, his fucking gold trim and everything. Man, back in the days, that was big bucks. Like everybody, you can tell how much money they make by their car.
Used to. Well, still, not today, I guess.
And like you said, everybody gets into the credit card debt just to get that car. Like this
Yeah,
brother right here,
exactly.
he's probably in debt because he got that car. Look at that.
Yeah.
nice car and everything.
That's a heavy.
He still has
That's a
5 years of payments probably.
Yeah.
That's
You
a
know what I'm
bumblebee pack.
And now you used to
Oh, yeah, look
like
at-
that, and we used to be getting
and look at
tickets.
these- look at these chariots right here.
Like that.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
chariots, these are the devil's
Up there,
chariots.
Jets.
Those are jets.
Yeah, Blue Lane is probably
And did you know,
from the base over here.
And did you know, was it the sorry, 17 though? The Blackbirds? The nickname for it is actually called Archangel.
You think about it.
I'm saying there's a Jets, right? The fastest one. It's called the SAR 17, which called Blackbird, right? But the fastest jet, bro. Its nickname is Archangel. It's called Michael.
Michael.
Bro, he's the fastest jet though.
And the word Michael means who's like God.
Yeah. But you see how they like fix things? They know, like they know. But like I said, Michael the Archangel, he's the one that's gonna come and tells you in Revelation though, he's gonna come and fuck shit up.
And if you want your son or to be great, name him Michael. Look at Mike Tyson. Look at Michael Jordan.
Well, everybody might put in names out the Bible one way or another, stuff, but still at the same time, all that is good. Everything.
Because somehow,
But still,
somewhere-
at the, okay, what do you think about the Mormons? They've been into all this here way back in the day.
Yeah. Mormons
and then
think that.
where you come from, your background,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And you always go and find out all about your background and who your ancestors was and this and that and everything. And
Yeah. It all leads back to Israel.
and it go to, when you break it down, you go through all of this there too. When you look at it, when you look at it all. But they're the first ones that started it. As I know of.
Yeah.
The first ones that had to go back into the history and look into it.
That's why these guys had to have our history. They didn't want us to know because look at they want us to be on this side of the sun. Because what do you think when we were on this side? You think about, man, these guys work and they drink beer and they smoke weed and fucking shoot up heroin and they slap their women and they're into the fucking gangs. But what do you think about these people? Well, these are the Lord's chosen people. These are His holy saints.
You wouldn't think that.
These are the saints of the Most High. Now, the devil knew that, and he did all kinds of crazy bad things to the saints, all his saints.
Yeah, because look at the, you know, going to the Conquistadores did to the Aztecs, to the Mayans, pretty much, you know, what is Zebulon, the Mayans, the Incas, which is Peru, Asher, and then the Aztecs, the, you know, Mexicans, so they came over here, and then what Columbus did to the Native Americans and the Seminole Indians, so, you know, what the hell they did to them, though, you know?
So, and that wasn't just in one day. That was started at 1492, and it's still going on.
Yeah.
Still going on. So we've been suffering for 500 years. I mean, man, that's a lot.
Because they just remember what they had to do with the Holocaust though. These, what? How long did that last though? When they put them in the camps though? What?
2 months, like 4 months.
At least, right? Slavery was 300 years. How come we get no reparations? But they, you know, they do though.
They even got an anti-defamation.
They were in the
Jewish people at
concentration camps
Ashkenazi,
though.
World War II,
Yeah, they get reparations. They get money because they went through all that though, you know?
but we don't get shit.
Yeah. And we went through all that shit through house and slavery too.
We can't even get a goddamn loan from this guy.
You gotta get good credit.
Yeah.
And credit, which credit goes back to faith. It's
Yeah.
faith. You know, credit means faith though.
Exactly. What kind of Bible is that you got there?
1611, King James. You know King James was a black man, right?
1611?
Yeah, oh, I got the book right here.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
So-
he was the king of Scotland, man, and it's like our people spread out though because look at I don't have a picture of King James.
No, I couldn't find it.
Okay, well look, I got it here.
Yeah, that's it.
Look at this is King James. So they proclaim him to be a so-called white man, but he right here he looks what?
Well, I'm just saying, a lot of times back in the days, I mean, they said Jesus was that curly hair like a sheep.
Oh, yeah.
Brown like a whatever, and this
Like
and
a
that
wolf.
and everything.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
they, on the pictures, things totally different. So,
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't look at it like I look at it in the spiritual man. It doesn't matter what color, you know. To me, it's all
Yeah.
about the
Well, the question
faith
is,
that you have. with-
So when you take off your hat and you look in the mirror, your hair looks like wool, right?
Nope, mine looks like maps.
but it's
But it's okay. I can live with it.
So this is the book. This is what you were quoting. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, and let's get 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So what happens to brass when it gets burned? It turns black, right?
Right.
And his voice has the sound of many waters. How are our people? Our people are hella loud, man. We can't go anywhere with people. White people think we're arguing. We could just be talking.
You know, I mean, that's what people tell me that all the time. I mean, you know, quit busting somewhere, whatever, you know. I mean, I used to go into the bank, and the woman cried because of the way I talk. I mean, a little while back here, you know, about 15 years back or more. I mean, I'm talking about natural tone, and then she talking about you raised my, you fussing or something. And started crying. I'm saying just about a friend.
Yeah, that's brass. And who's loud as heck? Our women. Our women are loud as heck.
That's a burning brass right there.
Mm-hmm.
What color is that? What color is that?
Brown, brown, I mean, dark.
It's the color of your feet when you take off your shoes. Brother.
Yeah. So, you know, it's so, well, the question is, why do they portray him to be a white man?
I don't know. When I was going to some of the Adventists, they came out with books with the Bible with the black folks on it and different things. You know, they came out. So there was Bible salesmen, so they still want to sell books that trade to themselves. You know, so they came out with books that favorite them. So I mean, to each his own. You know, I mean, you know, then people I saw, how people were selling big Bibles and stuff with black folks on it and stuff. And it's a money making thing to like anything else. But I mean, the whole thing is in a nutshell is about the faith.
Yeah, you can't have faith in something that's not related to you, right? Not relatable. So that's why these people are like, what do you mean he's black? He can't be black. But what is it? What is it? Well, all them schools. No, come on.
But you know, but why is it that when people pray, right? Because you know, people pray, they think about this white image. But that he doesn't look like
I
that.
don't.
There
You know, some people might do, but I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And the brother read his depiction of how he looked, so you know.
but to somebody that didn't know, that would be offensive. And it would be hate speech. but it's right here.
Yeah, yeah. It's right there. So how is it? And it says the Most High He hates to, you know?
And we can't have nothing. We can't have nothing. We can't feel good about ourselves for no goddamn reason.
But you look at all the big churches, or Catholic churches, or big churches, they all be doing the same thing, girl. You know what I'm saying? And then they got the congregation, all the congregation looking at the same thing. So it's brainwashed from the get-go a lot of times to some degree. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you got to read the word and understand the word and go according to the word, and you got to find your own way, you fade your own way through it all. And you know, it's just life is just a living process that we gonna live and learn, and you're not gonna quit learning. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna keep on learning. As long as you live, you're gonna learn.
That's how you become better at
Exactly.
something. You know?
Exactly. So,
But people, that's the thing, man. People don't want to get better.
well, that's the one that don't want to get better. Then that's different story altogether. You know, so
Yeah, that's what the book says. It says, if the filthy be filthy, you let them be filthy
That's
still.
the last
Exactly.
chapter, right?
That's the last word in the last book in the last chapter.
right.
Yeah.
The last word is let them be filthy.
Can't do nothing about it, though, you know? The only
Right.
thing is just, you have to repent, you have to, walk ways, and it actually tells you in the book of James that you have to do the work, so that's why we're out here, you know? We're not just only hearers, we're doers too, though, you know? We're actually making a statement, though.
And that's how we're paying our debt, is by informing you,
Right.
having this conversation. So the angels are going, like, yep, they're getting they're paying their bills.
Because you never seen something like this before in your life? Like, you ever seen people preaching?
I've seen something like this here somewhere before, just here recently though. I think it's there by a Walmart or somewhere. I don't know what it was, but I know it's a guy. I know he's a minister. He's a pastor, and he's talking about something like that. I think he got that same chart there, that whole thing right there.
That's good.
You know.
Is that the reason why you stopped to look, though? Or you
Recognize it?
You recognize that's the reason why you stopped
Yeah, I
watching?
come recognize it, yeah.
Yeah.
Then now and then, y'all got different talking about this thing. It caught my attention, you know.
Yeah. Well, that was the spirit that brought you over here, you know?
Huh?
That was the spirit that brought you over here.
Exactly,
How to
exactly.
listen to what
Right.
we're talking about, you know? But that's the good thing that you came by, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like I said, I was